The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Take three wrestling podcast. It is Thursday, July 27th. It is the final Thursday of the month of July. We are back in the saddle again. We are at full force +1 for tonight's show. It is me. I am Fat Nash. I am joined, as always, by the other half of the Fat Siders. He's over there. Fat Hall.
Hey, yo.
We're also joined by meat sauce legend himself, Soul Train Jones, Vincent.
What's up?
The token NWO guy.
Yes. To my right, you can't see a photo. Bang Bang 49er game. It's Bang Bang Shrimp Joe.
I'm here, sort of, kind of. Hi.
And back from the dead, it's Rome.
Hey, guys. How we doing?
Who's that guy?
I have no idea who that is.
Who's the fat guy with the harmonica? You guys have Billy Joel on your show? He's got a great tan. Sing us a song. You're the piano man.
Well, that took about
Song.
2 seconds. Jesus Christ.
You'll hear him chiming in from a distance.
Hulk Hogan.
God.
Ernest, what wrestler in 2019 won the heavyweight championship? Hulk Hogan defeated Paul Orndorff.
That's correct.
I mean, that is his greatest feat of
In
all
a
time.
steel cage, baby.
To bring back the blue cage
That's right.
and the tag belts and the IC belt.
Those are facts.
He ain't lying.
So, fun show tonight.
He ain't lying.
Because Craig is also here. We have some good topics. We're going to preview Great American Bash, the NXT show this weekend from the HEB Center in Texas. We'll also talk about Joe's topic, which the fuck was that again?
What things you hate?
Liking what
you
other
love.
people dislike.
Oh, so I already know Ernest's number one answer. The Hulk Hogan versus Paul Orndorff feud. Fucking figured that out real quick.
Who hates that though?
All of us.
Most people.
The world.
Yes, you don't count.
No.
You don't
See,
count.
I count more than you do.
No, you're not the general populace, dude.
Buddy, if you think
Yeah,
that-
We're podcasters. We don't count in that. We're not the populace. I'm talking about all forces as a whole. The other wrestling parlance, they do care a little more about that.
Sure they do.
my wife just dunked on Ernest.
Go.
What'd you say?
Carol, please repeat that.
Well, hold on. I said, what did I say? I said Ernest could be a population.
Oh.
His head.
Well, fuck you, all of y'all.
You I can say that because I got a big head too.
I got a big head as well.
Wow.
It's
I'm not even the second fast one this whole fucking podcast. That's not possible.
Trait dunking on Ernest EJ Christian.
Don't be rude.
Yeah. Thank you, Don. One thing I agree with you on. Shit.
Great job, Pearl.
Dang.
That's better. I like Pearl.
EJ's getting yelled at by multiple wives tonight.
Yeah, first he gets put into place by his wife. Then my wife comes over the top like Shaq, just dunking on souls.
You know what? You know what? Jim, call Dan down here too. Call Dan down here and have her yell at my ass.
I'm not
Also,
that
Jim.
stupid. She's already in bed.
Oh, really?
So wait. I was out of my office for a minute and I wasn't listening. I come back. Did I hear that right? So Ernest is wearing a pearl necklace?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah. You keep up, Jim. Joe, whatever your fucking name is today.
Hey,
Jones.
come on, Joe.
No, apparently, come on, Ernest.
my God.
this show is going to be a fucking train wreck, and
Can
I
we
love
start this show already, please?
Buddy,
There's
we
way
were
too much
recording for
content.
5 minutes.
You
There's so
cocksuckers,
much
can you start this fucking show?
Buddy, you just keep creating the jokes. I would stop talking if I were
You're
you.
welcome. You
All
all
right.
come. You get it? You all come. Yeah. Oh,
Come in my face.
that's right.
Jesus. Why are we
I
here?
think, I think there's another soundbite there.
Come in my face.
No, I think there's another one that one of your guys.
Come in a trash bag.
There's so
There's
much.
way
like-
too much cum here.
Brian's been like what,
There's
five
so
coming.
much cum.
There we go.
He was invited to come.
There it is.
That Ryan one's always
It's
classic.
thick enough that you can fork it in.
Woo! All right, Ernest, you have the first topic. Please start before I start
I
crying.
do, and this topic is simple. So this Bloodline storyline, 3 years running now. We all agree that it's the greatest storyline in history of WWE, possibly in all pro wrestling history. I remember a couple of years ago when we did this podcast, and we did a tournament, and I believe we did a tag team tournament. The Usos they didn't win it at the time, but I think they were like probably in the final six, maybe final four, maybe. Also WWE also 2 years ago did their rankings of the top tag teams all the time. I think they're definitely in the top 10 at the time, and I think number 7 on the list at the time. Fast forward to 2023, as my voice holds up barely, and this storyline, as we all agree, is the best storyline in the history of the company, maybe in pro wrestling.
Mhm.
Is it safe or is it okay to say now that the Usos might be now the greatest tag team in the history of WWE? Is it far-fetched now to say that? They already were a top 10-ish team as is anyway, 2-3 years ago, before this thing started.
Okay, so let me pose this. Who would you say was the number 1 tag team in WWE history?
I think we all agreed, Mike and I think Mike, Joe and I all agreed that New Day. When we did this thing years ago, the New Day was the tag team we all agreed was the best in WWE history anyway.
So wait. I think you might be right, but if I'm remembering correctly, I think we had it down to those two. Like it was like New Day Usos for WWE, because we ended up picking, I think, the Dudleys as the overall best tag team in wrestling.
But was
history.
that was a pro wrestling tournament,
Okay,
though,
so
right?
we're
If I'm not
talking
mistaken.
just in WWE.
Right now.
If
Yeah.
we're talking just WWE from EJ's topic, that's what it sounded like.
Okay.
Right.
So if it was the New Day before,
They won an all-time tag team list according to WWE. That's their list. I think
okay.
Usos I think number 7, number 6 at the time.
So see, here's the thing, because the stuff during the Bloodline segment or the Bloodline storyline, there hasn't been a ton of. I guess maybe they did win the tag titles there for a little, but the majority of the story has been.
Wait. Not to interrupt you, as I literally interrupt you. They didn't win the tag titles for a little. They became the longest reigning tag champions. I'm pretty sure.
And unified it. In fact.
So I mean, like it wasn't just like they held the belts for a month. Like they did do something significant with the belts. Continue.
Well, yeah. Well, during the reign, if I'm correct with the way it went down, during the reign, they surpassed the longest number of total days reigning as champ. It wasn't a single reign though, was it? I'm pulling it up right now.
Who are those?
Okay, I lied. They were champions for 622 days. So ignore everything I just fucking said. Okay, yeah. So they won them. Okay, yeah, they won them in July of 2021 and just lost them. Okay, yeah, ignore everything I just said because I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, then yeah, they're number 1.
Oh, bang bang.
Yeah,
like that.
Like, because my thought process there was like, and maybe it's because there wasn't a ton of title defenses. Maybe that's where my mind was going. But like, the stuff over the last 3 years has been more about the internal family stuff, right? Like, so like my thought process there was like, what have they done as a tag team to move the tag team needle in this storyline? If
One
we
thing, one thing I'll say that I think I would give the Usos credit for that I don't even know the New Day necessarily gets, and through no fault of the New Days, to be
Mhm.
perfectly honest, I feel the Usos have had quite a number of fantastic matches, particularly in the last like year and a half, 2 years during
yeah.
this whole story. Because think about it. It's easy to look at the New Day and be like, well, who of the New Day had great tag team matches with? And for the most part, that answer is the Usos. I don't know that there's a lot of other tag team New Day matches other than maybe some stuff. I don't even remember if they ever fought against the Wyatt family or what, but I do remember their matches with the Usos standing out really well. Then you turn to the Usos, and it's like, honestly, who haven't they had a fantastic tag match with in the last 2 years? They had a match of the year contender with the Street Profits. They had a match of the year contender with RK Bro. They've had match of the year contenders with just about everybody. And again, like I'm not saying that's the New Day's fault. That goes into the booking, but you can point to so many excellent tag matches from the Usos with so many dancing partners for them, and I don't know that you can say the same for the New Day.
Yeah, and unfortunately, since I think we did this topic previously, the New Day has dealt with injuries to long-term injuries to all 3
All
members.
3 guys, yeah.
Like, first it was Xavier's Achilles, then it was obviously the neck with Big E, and now like Kofi was dealing with some sort of I don't know if it was a leg or something, but he had a long-term injury. So in this period of time that we're reevaluating where everything stands, the New Day hasn't done anything, and the Usos had the longest reigning title reign of all time.
I wanted to say one thing about the whole thing with the New Day. I wouldn't entertainment wise, gimmick, the whole funny, all about them. Yeah, I'd put them as one of the greatest tag teams. I sit and think of greatest tag teams in WWE history: Demolition, Hart Foundation, Bulldogs. And the one thing I'll say though about the New Day, they have had multiple titles, but it's been Kofi Xavier, Kofi and Big E.
It's
Big
more of a faction at this point, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like when you look at tag team, Jay and Jimmy, Brett and the Anvil.
It's a good point.
It's the same 2 guys.
Great point.
It's not mixing it around. So yeah, in the sports entertainment, they're one of the greatest tag teams ever. But when you want to talk about just tag team wrestling and champions, I can't put them like above the 4 that I had mentioned because of you're going to have it for a few months. I'm going to win it with him for a few months. And then with the injuries, of course, too.
Yeah, that's a great point because I mean, Demolition didn't add Crush until near the end.
The
of
very
Demolition.
end, literally.
So,
Yeah.
so like the bulk of their work was as a 2-man.
Nice, better.
I'll also say some names that we're not mentioning in that discussion that need to be mentioned. You know, Craig mentioned the older era. Let's talk about like the Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian.
Yeah.
The guys that revitalized tag team wrestling in the 90s, because I'll be the first one to say it. Without the 6 of them, who gives a shit about tag team wrestling? Are we even talking about Jimmy and Jey Uso, the greatest tag team of all time? Because tag team wrestling probably would have been extinct by then. You know, I get it, and this is probably going to sound horrifically awful, and that's okay. They're the longest reigning tag team champions because they're part of the best story that WWE has ever done. If the Bloodline storyline was not a thing, I don't think they break the New Day's record.
No, they don't.
So again, I feel like it's a benefit to being involved in the greatest story of all time.
I agree with that.
Not taking anything away from the 2 guys that held the title. And yes, they had great matches. I'm not denying that. But when you're also paired up with freak athletes, Montez and Angelo, the guys in the New Day, Sammy and KO. You know, I loved that match at WrestleMania. It was perfect for what it was. But if you show somebody just that match with not knowing that Sammy was part of the bloodline, not knowing that Sammy turned on them to save Kevin, who is his proverbial brother, from the bell rings. And
What happened there?
I don't know what happened there.
all right.
What?
That was
Okay.
weird. Whole thing just spazzed out. Everybody moved around like we were fucking on the fucking dry erase
Chinese
board.
fire drill?
Yeah, fuck awesome.
That's a weird motherfucker.
So my thought process here is there will be people that watch night one main event of WrestleMania, bell rings, and they'll go, that crowd was really into that match. It was a good match. Not a great match. Like, if you don't know, like, in 5 years, if you're showing a random person that match with no knowledge of what the bloodline is, no knowledge of what the Sami Zayn storyline to get to that match was, there will be people that'll probably watch that match and go, it was good. I'm not going to say it was one of the greatest 5 tag team wrestling matches of all time.
Mhm.
And they were paired up with the right dance partners for that match. Let's be 100% transparent. Sammy and KO and the Usos, destined to have great matches. But that was also extremely good because of the reaction that it got from the 75, 80,000 fans at SoFi.
Sure.
So it's one of those where when I think about tag team wrestling, are they a team that will probably end up in my Mount Rushmore of tag teams? Yes, because they're already there. It's the same conversation that we had on Huddle Up about Andy Reid. It's kind of hard to sit here and say that he's number one when he's still kind of doing it.
You guys did a show on Waffle House?
Yeah, we did Smothered and Covered Baby.
Did we actually put the Usos 2 years ago in the Mount Rushmore conversation?
I
2
mean,
years
I
ago?
had them in the conversation. I didn't have them at number one because at
So-
the time, New Day had the longest reign of all time. And
So
B,
real quick. So here's the list. Here's the top 6
according to
that WWE what they put out when we reacted to this a couple years ago. So
Okay.
2 years ago, it was New Day 1, Hardy Boys 2, Hot Foundation 3, Edge Christian 4, Dudley Boys 5, and Legion of 6. If the Usos are not number 1 yet, if they're not,
okay,
where exactly you place them now? Have they moved up this list at least now in the last 2 years?
I mean, they're obviously ahead of the Legion of Doom.
Right.
I would say that they're obviously ahead of Edge and Christian.
Mhm.
I mean, at this point, you probably put them ahead of the Dudley Boys because you're not putting what the Dudley Boys did in ECW on the
Right.
tape. You're talking about just their WWE run. You know, so you're looking
Yeah,
at
that's the key detail here.
absolutely because at that point, then you have to take the Road Warriors, their NWA
Right.
stuff, their WCW stuff. We're in a whole other conversation. You're
Yeah.
taking the Dudley Boys, you're taking all the shit they did in ECW. They're the only people in the world that got trash thrown at them and loved it.
Well, see, okay, can I bring up a potential
Go ahead.
argument here?
Mhm.
I would argue that tag team wrestling has mattered more in WWE, at the very least in the last year or so since Triple H took over, than it did during maybe any of these other periods, which is part of the reason why I'm okay with committing to saying that the Usos are the best. I feel like this is like the tag team renaissance, almost like a golden age. Like, yeah, tag teams were like they were a big deal in the 80s, and that's why all of us that were big fans back then remember the Rockers and the Hart Foundation and the Demolition. They were a recognizable division that mattered, but they weren't main eventing WrestleMania. They weren't even coming close to being able to do that.
One night with Hulk Hogan, and you tell me
Yeah,
the tag
Joe,
match is fucking main
Hogan's-
eventing.
Right. That's
That's
yeah.
not-
Main eventing over
That's
that.
that's not tag teams WrestleMania,
Okay,
main
so-
eventing WrestleMania.
Joe, let me ask you this
Not
question.
tag team wrestling.
Okay, Joe,
Go ahead, Craig. Go ahead.
WrestleMania is what it should be in one night. Are the Usos fighting Sammy and KO main event?
No,
Okay.
but that's not the situation that we were in.
Now you're in. See, but now you're in the. We're going to do it for 2 nights, so you can have a tag team main event. Like
You can have a women's triple threat match main event.
Yes.
Yeah, but if they had 2 nights of WrestleMania in 1999, the New Age Outlaws weren't main eventing one of them.
No,
but at WrestleMania 16 or 17, there may be a case that TLC with Edge, Christian, Hardy Boys, and Dudley's may main event,
especially
night
no Austin
one.
in there.
No, but and I'm gonna agree with Craig here. You can't say that tag team wrestling in the 80s never had a shot, never main evented. It never had a shot because Hogan must pose. If it was one night of WrestleMania, the tribal chief will close out that show
Right.
every day of the week.
If it's one night of WrestleMania, I mean, very rarely did the WWF title not main event. Very rarely, even on any pay-per-view, any Big Four, much less WrestleMania. I mean,
Yeah.
when Brett and Bulldog main evented at Wembley, that was like, what the
Yeah, WrestleMania 1, which was the tag match.
Yeah.
Wembley, and the triple threat match for the women's title.
No, Wembley was SummerSlam.
No, but we're
Wembley,
just big pay-per-views.
Gotcha.
yeah. But I mean,
I'm sure you don't.
Bam Bam and LT main evented a wrestling.
Oh God, that was
It's all
awful.
But you know what I mean? Like, so but again, it was rarefied air that the WWF title didn't main event. The thing that'll keep me, and again, the key detail in all of this is WWE, because if you look at longevity, and I'm not saying that longevity is the only argument, you know, the defense for the argument, but like Edge and Christian, like from the time the Brood debuted until like their first split as a tag team was like a 4-year period, 3 or 4 year period. Okay. The Dudley Boys, from their debut in WWE until their split in their first departure, was between 3 and 5 years. And then they had the return in 2015 and 2016. So like their time in the WWE was like 4 to 6 years. And even if you look at the Hardy Boys, now of course they had like the days in the like mid to late 90s when they were kind of on the jobber scene. But like once they finally became a tag team, it was 98, 99. They were Team Extreme until 2002. Then there was a split, there was a departure. They got back together in 06, 07. Then they feuded, then they split up. They came back again brief times in 2017, 2019. So you put their time in WWE together, even if you started the earliest part, 98 to 2002, that's 4 years. They get back together for another year, that's 5. They're back. They're only in about a 5 to 7 year period in WWE. And I'm not lessening the value of their work, because it did give some of the biggest, greatest moments that we had seen in tag team in the WWF. They kind of reinvented it at the time. The Usos made their main roster debut in 2010.
That's the thing. 13 years, it's still relevant.
Like it's like like the longevity of it has to come into play. And yeah, I mean they have obviously benefited from this era of athlete, this era of match quality, and being a part of the Bloodline story, which is the catalyst for are we moving the needle. But like, you know, Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys, they benefited from the fact that each team found 2 other dance partners that were willing to do the craziest fucking shit that any team had agreed to do at that up to that point. So like every generation, and then, you know, you go back to the teams that, like Craig was talking about, you go back to the Demolition and Legion of Doom and Heart Foundation and the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs and the Heart Foundation, some of those guys that had worked in Stampede before Stampede got bought, reinvented tag team wrestling at the time. So like you generationally, and this exact conversation is similar to the point that I talked about on an episode of Huddle Up recently, bing, where
Give
I
us
talked where I talked about, like, I don't necessarily like the all-time discussion because it's there's so much nuance, there's so much context that gets lost.
Even more so in wrestling.
I wouldn't
Even more
say
so.
even more so.
Well, because the business changed. The business, the way they do things, changed
Bro,
over too.
Okay.
No, because
So yesterday was the anniversary of Johnny Unitas retiring. You don't want to tell me that the business hasn't changed from
But-
Unitas
No,
to
no, no. Of course, I'm agreeing with you on that. I'm just saying the
No,
wrestling.
but you're not though, because you're saying it's more so in wrestling, which I don't think is the case.
no, it's more so in other sports because rules change, the play style changes. Fucking, you have to sell more commercials. You have to do this more. It's a whole different thing. In wrestling, the only thing that's changed is people have started jumping from the fucking top rope. We've been doing others. We've been jumping
No,
off.
I mean,
Like-
I don't want to lessen either side because
But when
the
you have
thing that I've always said with sports and wrestling is you really can't compare them because they are not the same. But like, I've never liked the all-time argument because there's so much that changes from generation to generation to generation. But like for me, when I'm hard pressed to find hardly any team that has had the longevity of the Usos.
I guess one word was I just said especially in wrestling, not just
Well, no,
WWE,
okay,
just wrestling.
and to be fair to Jim's point though, even outside of let's go outside of sports, wrestling, like acting. You know, the way actors acted in the 1940s is a hell of a lot different than the way they act now. Movies are different now. You know, I love Gary Cooper. Gary Cooper wouldn't work in a movie that came out in 2023 directed by Christopher Nolan. It's just not the style of acting that he did. Like things change, things naturally change, and that doesn't lessen the value that the people had in the past when they were doing it the way that it was in style then. It's just different now. So yeah, I kind of agree with Jim. I feel like the all-time conversations, the Mount Rushmore conversations, all of that, they become very hard at a certain point because you're comparing apples and oranges, even though you feel like you're not, because it's all the same quote unquote thing, because it's all wrestling or it's all football or it's all movies. You know, at a certain point, there's a difference. There is a difference based on generations.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
And let's be like, and thing too, because like, I mean, the bloodline story, I mean, has kind of changed the game for everything in wrestling. I mean, where we were talking about it being the biggest story and the best story, in my opinion, that this company's ever told in the history of this business. But like, go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead. You can finish if you want.
So, but like with the Usos, when they turned heel in 2016, I mean, that's 7 years ago. It's halfway into their run. That's when they took off the face paint. That's when they changed their look. That's when they started doing the Uso penitentiary stuff. So they were already ahead of the game on their gimmick change.
Yes.
Before the bloodline. So like they were already starting to do some of the things that they've done in this run that we're revisiting the conversation on before this 4 years before this story even started. And I think that when the Usos turned heel and they started being Jay and Jimmy more than they were sons of head shrinkers, like that's when they really came into their own. That's when they, like, not that they weren't having good matches before, but in 2016 when they started being themselves,
the own identity,
the game totally changed. And that's when I thought they really started to come together and become one of the best tag teams we have ever seen. And like I said, for me, I'm hard pressed to put anybody else above them, regardless. Like, I mean, and here I will put this as an asterisk because they are still active, and the Usos or the New Day. Technically, all members are still active, and especially if Big E does return, like he's been rumored to. There's 2 active teams in the top 5-ish of this discussion that there's still potential to move up or down. So I'm not locking in the Usos as number 1, but I'm saying sitting here today in July of 2023, they're my number 1.
I was waiting for Conehead to say something because he was just staring intensely into his microphone. For just their WWE work, sure. If they're not one, they're two. Absolutely. All-time tag team discussion. That's another topic for another day because I think there are some tag teams that we would have to have some conversations about.
Oh, sure.
You know,
And we've had those conversations already in the past.
well, I don't think we've peeled back all of the layers. You know, or where do you guys stand on a certain tag team that are the current unified tag champs and they're running Ring of Honor as Kevin Steen and El Generico? You know, guys like that. We got to talk about them. We got to talk about the Dudleys. We got to talk about, you know, the fucking Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, the Steiner brothers. You know, there are teams.
I don't like them, but you got to talk about the Young Bucks.
Yeah, Twinkle Toes McFinger Bang.
You know, you got to talk about the Briscoes. Like there's a lot. I mean, look,
When
and
you
if you
say the
really want to
Briscoes-
start talking all time discussions, you got to talk about I forget what they were called before they were the Bushwhackers.
Oh, the sheep
herders.
The sheep herders.
Yeah,
Because the sheep herders, those guys were fucking insane.
Don't get Joe pissed.
I was about to say though, like when you say the Briscoes, like which Briscoes are you even talking about?
Can we get
Mark
Are you talking about Jay? Jay and Mark. Yeah, but there was another tag
Gerald
team,
and
Briscoe brothers.
The original Briscoes.
Yeah, I mean, but like people who watched wrestling back then would have told you they were the best tag team back then.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
What about the Conquistadors?
Stop it.
We talked about Edge and Christian already.
Giant Machine, great tag team back in the day.
What about the Blade Runners? What about Sting and fucking Warrior? I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying, like they're.
I mean,
you open up the door.
Wait. Real question: has any single one of us seen a Blade Runners match?
I've seen clips on like the Rise and
Likewise.
Fall of Ultimate Warrior and that on these career retrospective DVDs, but I don't know that I've ever seen a full match of theirs. No.
I'm just saying, WWE only. Yeah, put them on the board. If they're not one, they're two. If we're talking about all time, we have other discussions that have to be had.
Sure, absolutely. That's what I said. Yeah, that was the key detail in the discussion.
I would agree with that assessment.
All right. Okay, we're good there, I guess.
All right.
Is it Joe's now?
You want to do mine? We can do mine. And I'm not going to go first, but I'll just intro it, and then you guys can talk a little bit, and then I'll jump on. Real simple, actually. I was listening to 83 Weeks last week, the Eric Bischoff podcast. It was a good episode. The last couple have actually been real out of the park home runs, and they were talking about the NWO and stuff, and they started talking about NWO sold out 1997. I guess I am sort of answering this question. And talking about how, you know, it's widely considered to be this awful show. A lot of people hate it. It was a bad idea, yada, yada, yada. And I got to thinking, I don't hate it. I kind of was a fan of that show, if I'm being honest. I was in 1997. I still am today. I've watched it multiple times. I think the concept was cool. I think the execution was not always the best, but you had to try something. I think there were even some good matches on there. There was an Eddie Guerrero and X-Pac ladder match that's not half bad. It's actually pretty good.
Not half bad. What a salesman you are, Joe.
So
This is
why
Only the best.
This is why I'm in management now and no longer a server. So
try the fish. You only made 6 people sick today.
Yeah. I got to thinking, this is something that a lot of wrestling fans think is awful, that I disagree and think is good. And I was wondering from you guys, what is something that a lot of wrestling fans think is awful? It could be current, it could be the past, it could be anything, a wrestling move, it could be a person, it could be anything. What's something that a lot of people think is awful in wrestling that you are actually kind of a fan of?
You gonna go round robin this one?
Yeah, go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll say not Ronda Rousey. Whoever wants to go next, feel free.
I know that's not the question, Mike.
I don't think Ronda Rousey is
I don't think you
popular, to be
understood the
fair.
question.
I have one actually. That's
Fuck Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I have one actually. It's funny. I discussed her actually on Twitter today because of some tweet that came out. I like Lacey Evans. I don't hate her. Everybody else hates her. I think she's fine. I think her Southern Belle gimmick, her Southern Belle. Hold on, let me finish. Her Southern Belle gimmick that came in 2019, I thought was good. I don't understand why it's not working. She gets heat. You know, I don't understand why it hasn't seemed to work on a consistent basis. But I don't mind her. She doesn't bother me.
God, if this was a Tuesday episode of a certain show, there would be so many uh-ohs after everything you just said because yeah.
Here's the Southern Belle. She was really good with the Southern Belle gimmick, but I don't think that was sustainable.
Do you go on her Twitter?
What's that?
No. Do you go on her Twitter, Ernest?
No, I don't go on there.
That's probably why people hate her.
Is she
on Twitter?
What's the subject matter with it? She's like a bitch on there or something? Is she political? I don't know.
I think she lets everybody know how she feels.
Oh. Okay. That makes sense then if that's the case. But I thought the Southern Belle game was cool. Obviously, would it sustain beyond the time it did? Who knows? But I mean, she's not. She's solid.
Can I say, for no good reason, because I know their names are not even close to the same, but when you said Lacey Evans, for some reason in my head, I went to Tessa Blanchard. And I was really just like, wow, Ernest with a really hot take, because she's a bitch.
Speaking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've had a hard time figuring out what they want her to be. Yeah. And the female Sergeant Slaughter, I don't think is the answer. Although Sergeant Slaughter is kind of a prick.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm going to say kind of. The Sergeant Slaughter is a fucking asshole. So like I'm almost behind the Lacey Evans female Sergeant Slaughter gimmick just because it pisses off that piece of shit Sergeant Slaughter. So, but yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with Lacey Evans. They just don't like they don't know what they want her to be. Like, do they want to just like steer into the military stuff, or like they tried doing like I had a troubled childhood thing and that didn't work, and now it's like a drill sergeant thing. And I just don't know that a drill sergeant gimmick works in 2023. Like it feels like 1996 WWF.
It's too polarizing of time now to people to behind.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. Like, because if done correctly, a military or whatever gimmick, you can pull that off if done correctly. I just think that the way that her character is being presented right now feels like 1995 WWF, and nobody wants that in 2023. Like that type of almost cartoonish character doesn't work anymore. The first to the question, to Joe's topic, the first thing that came into my mind with this is Baron Corbin.
Oh, love that one.
I didn't really like Baron Corbin in NXT. Because like I thought like his presentation was just a little strange to me. Like the Lone Wolf thing, and I'm sure he had a cool entrance, but like once the bell rang, I felt like he wasn't really that great. Obviously still pretty green, developmental, all of that. His thinning hair, like he was still working on getting in better shape. Once he got to the main roster, he started doing the Constable stuff, and then he was King Corbin, and then Sad Corbin. What got lost to a lot of people with a lot of the silly gimmicks he was doing was the fact that he actually got really fucking good in the ring. Mm-hmm. And like when you have some of those goofy gimmicks, the reason that they work is because the person doing them is so good in the ring and so good on the mic that you don't even realize how good they are. and Baron Corbin has become one of those guys. I mean, it's the reason and obviously we'll hit this in Mike's topic in the NXT preview. Baron Corbin is kind of in this like Miz-ish category where he's very good and he's very safe, and you can be trusted in a program with him, and that's why Gable Stevenson's first match is with Baron Corbin, because he's a guy that will give Gable Stevenson a really good first match.
Stevenson.
What a fucking stupid name. I'm just gonna start calling him Gable Stevenson because fuck it. What a
Stevenson.
stupid name.
Just call him Stevenson.
What a fucking so stupid. What a dumb name.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking
Stevenson.
awful.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, a lot of people have started hating on the Canadian Destroyer. I still love whenever it's broken out. I'm still a fan of a flippy do pile driver. It's a lot of fun to watch.
No, it's a fantastic move. I like the way you say that, when it's busted out, as if it's not busted out, like just
Third move,
every Wednesday on Dynamite.
yeah, every third move of every match. It's great. I love it. It's a flippy do.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm not surprised that that's become like a transitional move because even the super kick has, but the super kick took like a good 15 years to become a transitional move, and the Canadian Destroyer did it in like what 10. So I don't know if that's better or worse.
Well, but we also have a lot more wrestling on TV in this era. So like
Also factual.
So like the 7 years it took the Destroyer is like, the 15 years and dog years that it took the super kick.
Yeah, because we're kind of over those too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You watch a Young Bucks match, I think you lose count after 37 super kicks.
That's the thing, like with the Destroyer, it's not, for me anyway, I know there are a lot of people that just hate it. For me, I don't hate it. It's just wild to me that a move that, again, not so long ago was like, if you saw it, it was like the Tombstone. You dead, done, match is over.
I remember the first time Petey Williams broke it out on like a TNA show. He hit that thing, and that was the rage on Twitter the next day was just gifs of him hitting that, and whoever he hit it on sold the shit out of it like he got shot.
Yeah.
Just
And
dick.
now I've seen guys kick out at 1 on a Destroyer. It's like, what? Who what?
Yeah. The other move that I have this for, a lot of people hate the fact that Kevin Owens is doing the Stone Cold Stunner. I love it. Yeah, a lot of people think that KO should have his own finishing maneuver that's his so that he can market it, kind of like he was using the pop-up powerbomb and then went away from it. Now he's doing the stunner thing. And I actually like Kevin using the stunner. I think it's actually smart for his offense.
Does it well too.
So I'm a fan of that. I know some other people were not. Those are the two like move wise, I guess, that I sit there on.
Well, and the thing that I don't the reason I don't mind him doing the stunner is because he went to Austin and got permission to use it. Like if he's just gonna start busting it out and Austin is like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
What?
Then I'd have a problem with it. The fact that Austin gave him the thumbs up and they had Austin return and farewell match. Like
I'll tell you why too, real fast, just before I jump in my Uber. I don't want to talk in there, but I'll be listening. I'll tell you why real fast, why it doesn't bother me that Kevin does the stunner. Because he doesn't do it as a fucking transitional move. It's still his finisher.
Yeah.
He hasn't weakened it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I'm trying to think. Well, a match. This is an older one. That I've always enjoyed, that I know, and the arguments are valid of why people don't like it. But being the Bret Hart mark that I am, and just it was the first time seeing a match of that style and for that long is the original Iron Man match.
People hate that match though.
Mm-hmm.
I know people
there's
say
a lot
overrated.
of people
I've
that
heard the word overrated, but I'm not. People hate it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people over time, and I think it's here's the thing. I think over time, for some people, it gets more hate because it's Brett hate or Sean hate. Like it's not even necessarily hate of the match. It's like personal, and it bleeds into the hatred of the match. For some, not for all.
Personal animus.
Match gets, the only way I'll say that I could see it getting the hate and it actually be deserving would have been had it been pre the Montreal Screwjob. Anything post Screwjob is anti Sean fans being pissed that Sean won, or anti Brett fans being like, oh, see, this was Brett already not wanting to put Sean over on a big stage, blah, 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 blah. Like just dumb shit, like unnecessarily like retarded stuff.
Yeah.
Like and that's the problem. It's you're blending together a real life storyline into two guys doing business.
Right.
Like, not talking about the physical match. You're talking about fuck Bret Hart, fuck Shawn Michaels. Like that's the problem when it comes to the ridicule that match gets. At least from my perspective, it seems like any of the that match, it really dragged at points. It wasn't great. That happened prior to the Montreal Screwjob was fans that sat through that match multiple times and was like, man, this match could have been great had these guys done all the big spots and the match been 35 minutes. It'd have been a 5-star classic. But, you add an extra 25 minutes of rest holds, it's like, it was good. Wasn't like a match that I'm dying to see over and over again. But when you start the post screw job, it's Brett really sandbagged in that match. Sean really sandbagged in that match. And it becomes too murky in the post.
Yeah, and again, I mean, when I saw this, I was 10 years old. So it's tied to a nostalgia for me as well. Like I get to sit and watch my favorite wrestler of all time for an hour. Now, granted, obviously ended up losing the title, but yeah, I mean, sign me up, man. Like, so it's a man, and like I 100% agree with you. It's Mike. It's no longer hatred for the match. It's there's so many different layers that go into people and the reasons that they give for it.
Yeah. The other thing, like not about that match, but another thing that I'm with me, it's like I will always love watching like the old school King of the Rings. Like, but I want the old school King of the Rings, like where you watch them qualify on an episode of Raw, and we didn't know what the brackets were. A lot of people are just like, towards the end, they were like, man, the King of the Ring really just kind of became like a secondary title. Like, whenever I was super young, like I used to love those. Now now people are like, I don't want the King of the Ring to come back because it doesn't ever do anything. It never leads to anything. So it's like, I always have a soft spot in my heart for the King of the Ring. So like, that's one of those where fans have kind of turned on that I'm like, I don't understand why. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's because the King of the Ring of today is not what the King of the Ring was when it first came out, which I loved as well. I was actually at the King of the Ring 93, the one in Baltimore, the second one. When Owen won. What's that?
93, the first one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is 94 then.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, 94. Yeah, pardon me. I was fucking 7 when it happened. So sometimes the years get a little murky there.
But what happens. Like that's what for a singular match. And I don't necessarily know if it's just because of the finish, but a lot of people poo-pooed on Rock versus Austin with McMahon turning. A lot of people have poo-pooed on that match. Like, that's still a great match. And Austin himself has come out and been like, man, I probably should have just stunned Vince after winning the title and we could have fixed it, you know, and shit like that. But it's like, the match itself, like, you're taken away from the physical match because of the whole McMahon.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight is 20. Like, I mean, I know it's a cliche phrase, but hindsight's 2020. Like, it's very easy after the fact to be like, oh, hey, Austin should not have remained heel there. Like,
You know, if we're throwing out matches, if we're doing like a round like that, I was just thinking about one myself. And I talked about it a lot on this show when it happened because Mike and I were there, and I know I'm very alone in this. I really enjoyed The Fiend versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania a few years ago. The post-pandemic in Tampa WrestleMania, where it was kind of more of a cinematic experience or like a theater experience than it was a pro wrestling match. I will give you that. I love that. I actually love that whole storyline. I loved everything about that. I bought in all the way. I'm pretty sure most people think it was the drizzling shits, especially the WrestleMania match. I was with it. I have gone out of my way to show that to people who aren't wrestling fans because I'm just like, you need to understand this can be this.
The only negative I have about that match is the end with the whole fucking like Alexa Bliss with the whole like
When she Papa Shango'd him,
yeah, and then she like is like
or Papa Shango'd herself.
yeah, and then she's like lowered into the fucking box. It's like, the fuck was that? But that wasn't the match itself. It was more like the hell are we doing after?
well, and I think the thing that hurt that is the fact that it went nowhere after because like whatever happened with Bray and then he got released.
Correct.
Because like if there was a story to tell, and here's the thing, everything about all of that stuff, there was a story to tell, it just never got told.
Correct.
So like I think, you know, if we would have gotten the story, not saying that it 100% would have been fine, but it would have been a lot better than than what we got left with.
Oh, I agree 100% with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean the thing I hated it again was that Bray lost again, like, which is the long running gag with that whole thing. But again, we don't know where the story would have went, so it's that's almost like, you know, like the when you get an incomplete in school as opposed to an F, because like we don't know where it was going, we don't know what would have happened with it. But yeah. EJ, do you have any other ones for this?
So thinking of one, the whole what thing post Austin, people saying what and the crowd saying what all the time. People don't like it anymore. I think it's so hysterical.
Oh God, you're awful.
Oh well,
You're literally what's wrong with America.
What?
You're a loser.
That's me.
Yeah.
What? Oh yeah.
Wait, what was the one the Undertaker used to be like? He used to say like, if you fuck your sister, say what? No, but like for real. Wait, I remember watching a documentary where like Undertaker said, like, he didn't say that. No. But he would say things where it was like if you're a moron, say what, and the audience would go what, and he'd be like, because like he would push stuff in like that because he hated.
Are you serious?
It. Yeah. Like look it up. It's in one of those like,
I want to see that
docs.
I want to see that now. No,
he hated it. It drove him crazy. So he would say shit like that.
Well, I get it can be annoying at times too, depending on when you do it. But I don't hate like everybody else does. I was like, oh, what the fuck? It's annoying as shit. I think it's hysterical.
Hold on, Joe may be onto something here. Let me see if I can get this.
He found it.
Oh, sorry, that was me.
Do you remember me beating you down and leaving you in a puddle of your own blood right in the middle of the ring? Yeah, I thought Flair was Booker Red. And you must say honestly, it was probably the most pain that you've ever felt in your life. I tell you what, why don't you say what if you like to sleep with your own sister?
All right, I was right.
Same time, Ric Flair.
Yeah, it was a promo segment with Flair.
Yeah, I'm watching right now too.
Yes, Joe was right. Joe was
Yeah.
right. Okay, I stand down. Look at that. Here's the thing, like the what chant is so weird because like it was great at the time with Austin. And I think the problem is like if fans didn't like just want to do it when like anytime somebody's talking. I think that's the part that I've come to really hate it. Like if it was just like and again, I don't know why. I don't know why it would make sense, but like if when Austin Theory was cutting a promo, sorry Joe, if Austin Theory was cutting a promo and the fans wanted him because he's a heel and he's annoying and we don't want to hear from him, then cool. But like you don't need to do it when Theory's cutting a promo and LA Knight's cutting a promo and Rollins is cutting a promo and Dominic Mysterio's cutting a promo and Roman's cutting a promo and Heyman's cutting a like that's the part that's annoying is like anytime somebody's cutting a promo, they're doing it. If fans actually had the ability to police themselves with it, I think I would not have an issue with it.
I mean, I feel like it's on a more general like wrestling fans hijacking shows.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's been one good hijack of a show in the last 10 years. It was WrestleMania. It was in Miami when he lost in fucking 8 seconds. And that's when the yes.
Please
Oh, you asshole. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm
I was
reloading.
going to play because I knew it's going to play as soon as it reloads. Does this every time.
Yes.
I mean, literally, I feel like that's the only good that there's ever been of a crowd hijacking a show.
Yeah.
I mean, there have been segments that have been hijacked, like, them chanting every time Bayley comes on overseas, "Hey, Bayley, I want to know will you be my girl?" But then when she leaves, they don't sing it for the rest of the show.
Right. Yeah. Like, and that stuff's fine. Like those are crowds having fun.
Yeah, there's cool hijacking segment moments, but it's when the fans try to hijack the whole show, with the what every time a heel tries to cut a promo or just yelling random shit just to yell random. Like,
yeah,
those are the ones where it's like, all right, guys, come on. But when you have it driven based off of where you're at, I feel like it's a little different.
Yeah. Then it's just like,
shut your ass.
God, can they just blow up the Jericho Appreciation Society?
That's what I heard, or it's close to it.
A lot of people like AEW. I don't. Oh, sorry. Wrong again.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't. You misunderstood the question again.
God damn it. You know what? Here, better yet. A lot of people dislike Sammy Guevara. I actually like Sammy Guevara. I think he's a pretty damn decent in-ring wrestler. His promo skills kind of mediocre, but his in-ring performance stuff is actually not that terrible.
No, he is pretty good in the ring. He is actually really good in the ring. I'll give him that. Yeah, I think it's his promo skills suck. Well, I wouldn't say suck. They're not great.
He also has a cheesy fucking heel gimmick where it's just like he thinks he's better than you.
Well,
like,
and I do think some of the, and again, this is where art and life overlap, is I think a lot of the Sammy Guevara hate started when he left his fiance for Tay Conti. Like, I think, like, you know what I mean? Because like they ran because I think he proposed to his ex-fiance on an episode of Dynamite.
Yep, in Texas.
Yeah, and then like a couple months later they're split up and it's clearly obvious that he's bootsing Tay Conti. So like I think that like that's where a lot of the Sammy hate came from. And then I mean they turned it into a gimmick. They Matt Hardy and Lita it, like the Edge Matt Hardy Lita thing. They turned it into a storyline and it worked because people hated it. But yeah, I think that's where a lot of that came from.
Trying to think if there's anything else that I can actually like physically think of.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I don't. There's nothing that comes to my mind.
Yeah,
But
I can't defend Phil from Chicago, so that's all I got. Anything else?
Hard one. The Punk is a hard one for me because I feel like everyone was I guess everyone was more or less a fan of him back in the day, because it's like back in the day I was a huge fan. Right now, I don't know. Maybe the next month of forcing myself to watch AEW every week will change my mind on Phil from Chicago. But I'm not exactly super excited for him at the moment. Like he's not what I'm looking forward to.
You can't wait to watch the 36th episode of Collision that no one gave a fuck about.
Yeah, no, I'm like, yeah.
Shucks. All right, my shit's falling. Anybody else got anything else for this one, or are we moving?
Nah, I'm good.
We're good.
All right, hold on. Let me bring up the show card. All right, NXT Great American Bash. This coming up, I guess it's what, Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Cool. We're not doing a Saturday PLE. Love it. Cedar Park, Texas, at the HEB Center. Oh, God, I have the hiccups now. Fuck me. It is the home of the Austin Spurs of the NBA G League and the Texas Stars of the AHL. Seating capacity looks to be about 8,700, 6,778 for a hockey setup. So we'll see kind of where we sit at a seating capacity for this show. We have, it looks to be 7 matches, 6 of them on the PLE. We'll start with the pre-show match. It is currently the Metaphor of Noam Dar, Ora Mensa, Shakira Jackson, and Lash Legend taking on Dragon Lee, Nathan Frazier, Ulyssa Leone, and Valentina Feroza. Ernest.
The team of Dragon Lee.
Jim.
I will go with the Metaphor.
Bang Bang 49er Gang.
Name of that stable?
Metaphor.
Like metaphor, like META 4,
Hyphen.
or like
MET
okay.
hyphen FOUR.
So that's giving me back in the day when CZW had a stable called HIV, the High Five. I'm not loving it. No, I kind of like it. I don't know. Whichever, whoever is gonna win this match is literally just whoever is standing in front of Shawn Michaels' good eye. So let's go with. I'm gonna go with what Ernest said. Whoever Dragon Lee's team is.
As I so picked on the comment section of the 3CT show, even though Jim did not read my comment properly, I will take the USA Mexico connection, Team Dragon Lee.
Matt's Mexican, right?
So is Dragon Lee.
I'm just saying.
It's the connect. It's a Mexican United States connection.
That's not the name of the group.
They don't have a name. I gave
exactly. Them. Thank you.
All right, Can-Am connection. Whatever.
Just an offshoot of the Latino World Order.
All right, singles match. It is the in-ring debut of Olympic gold medalist or Olympic medalist or whatever the fuck he is. Gable Stevenson, Jim.
Yeah, there you go.
Stevenson.
All right, Jimmy Nines.
I gotta remember when I get out of the golf course tomorrow afternoon to check in as Jimmy 9.
You have to. I swear to God, if you don't, you're getting booed off.
Well, I might not because my fucking brain's gonna be melting from how fucking stupid hot it is up here tomorrow. But
it's gonna be stupid hot everywhere. It is Gable Steveson versus the Lone Wolf for whatever the fuck he is now. Baron Corbin. Ernest.
Give me Gabe Stevenson.
Who?
Steven, whatever his fucking Stevenson.
He said Gabe Steves. Like
Steven Gableson.
Whatever his name is today.
Steve Jobs?
Gabe Stapleston.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
Gene Stapleton.
That's a good one.
When is he coming out?
Archie.
Thank you, Joe, for some. I was like, please, somebody get this reference.
All in the family.
I was trying to not to laugh so hard that I gave myself a coughing fit. That's why I didn't.
Well,
say
yeah, let's try not to do that. I'm going to take Baron Corbin because he doesn't have a stupid name.
Joseph?
Fuck you, Stevenson.
There's no scenario that Gabe Stevenson isn't winning his first match. I just personally want him to go out there and I want him to give a like Percocet Angle level performance. Like give me 2006 Kurt Angle when he was on all the perks. Give me that level of Olympian.
Oh, I thought you were going Percocet because he like probably drugged and raped women when he was at Minnesota, but oh wait, but fuck, my mic was on. You know what? I'll see myself out for a minute. You guys can
punish himself.
Wait, is that a thing? Is this something I don't know about?
That's what I'm saying.
Jimmy 9.
Go ahead and Google Gable Stevenson, Minnesota.
Stevenson.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, that's what I said. Stevenson.
Minnesota.
Washington penalty number 9. Jimmy 9's 2 minutes for cross checking.
Yeah, he was accused, like him and other wrestlers at Minnesota were accused of inappropriate conduct. We'll call it.
Sure.
Minnesota, you mean like Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig?
I mean, like the University of Minnesota. Did they go to the university? Like the Golden Gophers.
I'm taking Steveson because they didn't sign him and keep him under contract through all of that for him to lose to Baron Corbin. I love Corbin, but they didn't do that to do that.
Stevenson.
All right, submission match, NXT Women's Title match. It is Tiffany Stratton, the champion, taking on Chase Hughes, Thea Hale. Ernest?
Stratton.
Jim?
Stratton. Yeah, but yes, Stratton.
Joseph?
Out here, like, give me Chase U. I love that gimmick. I want her to win.
Oh, hell yeah. Give me Thea Hale. I literally said that in the chat on your show and you didn't read it off.
I didn't. Look, man, I got a lot of shit going on when I'm hosting the show.
I you and told you that you were dead to me.
That's all I'm saying. I got a lot of shit going on when I'm hosting a
Just
show.
doing Mark alone.
He wasn't there.
Mark wasn't there.
Oh, wasn't there? Oh shit.
Paying attention.
Neither was Smokey.
I have fucking six screens in
Jim
front
was
of me.
Jim was trying to reverse ghost you, where you keep contacting him and he ignores you.
That's not surprising. Oh hell yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Give me old Thea Hale. Women's Weapons Are Wild match. It is Blair Davenport taking on Roxanne.
Give me Roxanne.
Give me former 3CT guest Blair Davenport.
Homer.
You're fucking right.
Joseph.
What's that? Joe, we can't hear you, Joe. Joe, talk into the phone. Barely. Are you, Joe? Did the Uber guy throw you in his trunk?
Wait, can you hear me now?
Hey, there we are.
There you go.
Got out.
Found him.
Okay. All right. Is Booker T on commentary for this show?
Probably.
Okay. If he is, then I have to take Roxanne because he's gonna say things like, "That's my girl, Roxanne, yo."
That's racist. Careful.
No, that's how he talks.
That's factual.
I know. I'm just
He's going, "Damn, that's Roxanne, man. She gonna win because her name's Roxanne."
yo.
That might be a real
5
song.
times.
Blair Davenport. Make it stop.
Thank you.
Stop. Fucking stop. All right, for the tag team championships, it is the Gallus boys of Mark Coffey and Wolfgang taking on the Gabagool family crime syndicate of Tony Marineras and Stacking Meatballs. Ernest?
The spaghetti meatball team. I'm hungry.
Give me the full-blooded Italians, please.
The mafia.
Oh, which one of them is Johnny the Bull Stramboli?
Tony Mozzarella.
Joseph?
Yeah, no, it's definitely give me the meatball sub from Subway.
I'll take pasta fajoule and fucking 3 to 5 for money laundering to win.
There he is. Took an hour and 10 minutes to show your face.
You wasn't home, EJ. Shush.
I know that. I'm just saying.
All right, singles match for the NXT World Championship. Ilya Dragunov, the challenger, taking on He Is Him, Carmelo Hayes.
Who? Tiffany Stratton?
You missed that match. Ernest, go.
Carmelo Anthony.
I like Tim put this together really well. Dragunov has to walk so that Carmelo Hayes can run to the new Hurt Business on SmackDown. So give me Dragunov.
I think Carmelo is gonna win. I don't see Dragunov becoming the NXT champ.
So you think he's going to be dragging these nuts?
These nuts.
I mean, I was waiting for somebody else to fucking take the low-hanging fruit. I mean, there he is. There's Herbert. I'm going to take Carmelo Hayes because I think Baron Corbin is the one that beats him for the NXT title. Probably at that show that's coming up in September.
No Mercy.
Mercy. Because you can start the new Hurt Business and then make Mello join later on. He doesn't have to be there night one. So let me go with that. I think he ends up in the new Hurt Business, but I don't think he's there night one.
That's fair.
So Mello is him. Mello retains. Maybe Mello retains with help from somebody from the new Hurt Business.
What if Bobby shows up?
Maybe that's a route that we go, and I think that's something where does that maybe Ilya Dragunov join another stable of a certain foreign person that he's had a great match with, and join the ranks of Gunther and Imperium. Maybe we get a Hurt Business Imperium little squander, lovers quarrel. All right, last match we're talking about on this show. It is the match that we're all waiting for. Triple threat match for the North American Championship. It is Mustafa Ali, the former champion Wes Lee, and the greatest professional wrestler on God's green earth, according to himself, Dominic Mysterio.
I mean, hasn't he literally main evented every single show for the last 3 weeks?
Pretty much.
Like, he was on Dynamite last night main eventing, I'm pretty sure.
I believe he has more collision main events than CM Punk.
He ain't lying.
Ernest, start this one off there, bud, like always.
Oh shit.
Oh, way to pay attention, asshole. We're only recording a show here.
Yeah, the first person you mentioned.
Oh, so you're taking Mustafa Ali to win the title?
Yeah, why not?
You're an idiot, Jim.
Yeah, what?
What the fuck is wrong?
Ali.
Dominic Mysterio. It's Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, that is Dom then. Fuck it.
You're an idiot.
Oh my god.
What
Dom
just
Mysterio.
happened?
I didn't hear what you said. That's why. I'm gonna get my notes for next segment.
God, you're dumb.
No, I'm not.
Ernest, you look like my dog's butthole.
So your mom.
Pucker your lips.
Wow.
Jesus.
Wow. Christ. All right. I'm
Pucker your lips, motherfucker.
Ernest, pucker your lips and then slowly push your tongue out. I want to see if it looks like what my dog
Nah,
did.
we're good. Shut the fuck up.
God,
Shut the fuck up.
fuck just happened.
You fucking weirdo.
Dominic Mysterio.
I didn't say I was into it. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
Christ.
Goodbye.
Good Lord. Is it safe to come back into the room yet?
Is
I
it
hope so.
ever?
No.
No.
Jesus.
No, he's gone now.
I love Jim's.
So who has to answer? I think
I
We all went dumb. We all went dumb.
sorry, I'm
do we have any more matches on this card?
nope,
That's it. That's it.
Oh, so are we at the rest?
Wrestlers of the week? Wrestlers of the week.
sorry, I'm bringing up the spreadsheet so I could actually
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now.
yeah, it's me. All right, you guys
The wrestler of the week.
Jim, I'll let you go first because you show up every week.
Yeah, then I'll go with the guy that's basically owned professional wrestling for the last week plus, and that is Dirty Dom Mysterio.
All right. So neither one of the other two people that are on the show were here last week, so fuck them. They're not making picks yet. I am.
Do you think? I don't give a fuck.
Shocker, I know you don't give a fuck. Surprised you're actually still awake.
I know.
I will take the gentleman, if I can find it here, that I would like to make my formal prediction or my formal decision here. Give me the. Wasn't there? Oh yeah, give me the new or the still new champions in Impact, the tag team champions, Subculture, Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews.
All right.
Joseph.
I don't know. Give me your weekly look. Orange Cassidy defended his title spot.
I was gonna say you watched.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, literally every week he does.
Yeah.
Soccer, and then he just sticks his thumb up. Ernesto.
Give me Rey Mysterio. He won the Invitational last week on SmackDown.
All right, whatever. Jim.
Give me Billy Gunn. Retired at the after his match.
Is that confirmed?
I mean, he left his boots in the ring.
No, I know, but
I mean, by all accounts, and I mean his wife has tweeted of a few times pictures of him just lounging around and says hashtag retired life. So I think it's more than plausible that he is retired, but until proven otherwise, Billy Gunn said goodbye to the business last week.
the door is always
Is he
open.
still wearing those stupid socks?
Probably.
No.
I mean, I guess I'll take the pick that I probably should have taken with my first pick, and the pick that should definitely have been one of the first few picks off the board. Give me the new Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. Give me Mark Davis, Kyle Fletcher. Give me Aussie Open. Because Ring of Honor had a show this weekend. Joseph? Hooked on a feeling. I'm high on the leaving.
Give me Swerve Strickland. He had a great match with Darby last night, and beating Darby still sort of matters.
Who?
I don't know. People that watch Dynamite.
Who?
Well, you do for next month, apparently.
And me and like 799,000 other people. Nobody else.
They don't watch. They just say they watch. I need real data.
Call your boy Dave. Give me Pac. Fuck it.
What
What
did
do you do?
He did something. He did some shit with some dude in the ring last night. I'm impressed.
So
He-
so you got
he
lost in
beat
the last
Gravity.
topic because you were doing research, and
And you stole my picks.
you weren't going to say
So-
Billy Gunn. Shut the fuck up.
No, not Billy Gunn, but you
Well,
stole the
okay,
first
wait.
one,
To be fair, Pac did win a really long-term feud because he got a win over Gravity, who once forgot him.
Again, I say you did research, and you came up with Rey Mysterio because blah, and Pac
Jim
because fuck
Scott Niece. It's my pick.
it. Lame
Go
as
talk
fuck, bro.
talk to Wall.
Katsuyori,
I am literally right now.
Katsuyori Shibata, Claudio Castagnoli,
Ooh,
Athena.
what'd she do?
Painful,
She
bro.
main evented the fucking Ring of Honor show and retained her title, asshole. More than, or
A
You
match
know,
against.
do you know what?
Gravity.
Give me some women love here.
Oh,
Athena's fine.
you already made your pick. Fuck you.
No,
Nope.
no, it's
Okay,
over.
then what the fuck are you talking about then? Let's get the fucking move on. Let's go.
Oh, we're not arguing. We're just pointing out you suck.
I mean,
Oh, I know.
There's no argument there.
We dunk on you
Exactly.
to start the show. We're gonna dunk on you to finish the show because you just make it too goddamn easy.
Oh well.
All right, that was the final picks for the month of July. The list will be sent to you all tonight at some point or tomorrow, which means Jim, I expect yours before everybody else's.
Naturally.
Ernest, you're going to be a train wreck. Joe, I'll have to hunt you down with a paintball gun at work on Monday. Plug something, Ernest, because that's
Over under on my pick. Mine's coming in on Monday. What's over under?
if you did it to me after Monday and Joe gets me his first, you may end up just being thrown off of the fifth floor balcony.
True.
You gonna plug something, or are we moving on to Jim so we can plug all his stuff so we can get the fuck out of here?
My wife will come in. So I'm just kidding. Earnestly Speaking podcast. Across all podcasts. Earnest Speaking podcast, all podcast catchers. Each person 7 on Twitter. That's all I got for you.
Turn mine back
Fuck
on.
you. Fuck you, motherfuckers.
You
Joe.
can follow. You can follow. They don't do the dumb thing where you, hey Joe, you're gonna put. No, stop it. Don't be lame.
I have a dad joke.
Stop it. No.
Okay.
You're lame. Stop it. That's your punishment.
Okay.
Make better picks next week. We'll let you tell the joke. Oh wait, you're off next week. That's right.
Maybe.
Yeah. Tell your joke in 2 weeks when I'm off. That's what
I'm off maybe next week. Maybe next week.
We made his tarp all 2 weeks.
At Big Jim Sports on Twitter, hit the link tree. Huddle Up Podcast dropped a new episode this week. I also dropped an observations this week on there. Finally got back on the wagon on that one. Discussions with a Nobody dropped a new one of those this week. So thank you for interrupting me. So make sure that you check that out. And 3CT dropped the live show. It's already in it's in your podcast feed already. We'll have our Tuesday podcast coming out, and we'll be back next week live, of course, to preview SummerSlam and more. And yeah,
Joseph,
Ernest, you suck.
Yeah, you can find me on X and Threads. I'm in the metaverse. You can come visit me there. Yeah.
Well, you're a liar, Jim. It's not there yet.
Yeah, it is. I already got the notification that 3CT was.
Hey, Ernest, when you don't use a bullshit fucking
Oh, it's there now. It's there now. Good
podcast
Gab, right?
thing, yeah, it's been there for a
It's there
while.
now. It's good Gab. There
Get
you
a
go.
better app, dickhead.
Send all your tweets to at EJ Christian 7. That's
Send
at
away.
You mean X's?
Or Ron DeSantis.
No, I don't.
I'm never calling it a Zeet, okay? It's never going to happen.
A
Yeah.
Zeet. What's that?
Well, Ernest, if you would pay attention to news, that is what a tweet is now called. It is a
Are you
Zeet.
serious? It's called Zeet now? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
pay attention.
Ugh.
I hate you.
No, you don't.
Follow the show at Take 3 Wrestling.
Goodbye.
Until next week when we get to dunk on Ernest, whether he's here or not.
Yes, right.
Hopefully not.
God.
Hopefully not too.
Shut up, Ernest.